Hi, everyone. Welcome to this completely unnecessary podcast. Super Show! July 8th, a Tuesday, 2025. That's Ian Ferguson. Hair looks like you're slicked back because of your headphones.
Yeah.
I'm
Need to get a cut. Monday's the day.
I'm not used to your head being shown that much. It's very shiny. I'm Pat Contry.
And Pat,
on the show today. I'm not trying to make you self-conscious. I'm just not used to it. Well, like the curl, you did a Superman curl.
one of the things I'm most self-conscious about.
Sorry about that. Should have told people in the comments about that. Your Scottish shiny head. On the show today, we'll be talking about lots of fun stuff. Xbox hardware might be dead, which is what we've said for several years, that it's going the way of the dodo.
Buffalo. The dodo.
There's still buffaloes around. What else? In television update, we thought we were dead for a long time. Now we got a couple of months in a row. We're not milking it. And we have a scumbag seller of the week. We also do this exclusive podcast on patreon.com/CU podcast every month. And this month, we spoke about some of the goodies that I got at Too Many Games the past week and a half ago.
Big get!
In Oaks, PA. And the most significant Pat purchase in literally 15 years. The largest purchase I have made since the NWC Gold Cart. So that's a secret. So go to patreon.com/CU podcast to find out what that is. And Ian does writings once a week when I prod him to. Sometimes he remembers without me cajoling him. And then also we do hangouts, and then we have other fun stuff there.
Yeah.
Not a huge amount more fun stuff, but yeah, anyway. But yeah,
not a huge amount more. A modicum of fun.
Yes, reasonable amount. But Too Many Games is great. I've gone there. Ian's gone to a few. I've gone every year for the past almost 10 years now, besides the one missed for COVID there. And it was a fun time. Sold a certain N64 book. Did a panel. Did NES trivia for the 40th anniversary. That's my thing this year at my panels. I do some trivia. And I'm telling you, at SoCal, was disappointed in the knowledge in the crowd. They did a decent amount better at Too Many Games.
Yeah, all right.
They got probably 80% of them, while at SoCal, not representing SoCal, they only got like a third of them right. I think maybe 6 out of like 12 or 13. It was a little bit.
Step it up.
So that was a good time. We're going to be at Long Island next month.
Can't freaking wait.
Long Island Retro Gaming Expo. It's our 4th or 5th one. The first one was in 19. You skipped 20. And then, did we skip 21 as well? We came back?
I thought we did 18 as well.
No, I think it was 19.
I think this is going to be the 5th one.
5th one?
Yes.
So like 19, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
5 years of gluttonous Italian pastry eating.
That's right.
That's the...
Good pastries, good people, good pizza. Honestly, maybe my favorite convention.
August 8th to 10th.
I can say that now.
August 8th to 10th. You can say what?
It's my favorite convention.
I don't think anyone else would care.
No, I'm just saying.
I don't like to play favorites. I would say it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, basically, if I'm my favorite.
If I'm still going to your convention, you're one of my favorites. I'm not going to say you're like 9th on the list.
And I'll tell you why it's my favorite real quick. The reason why is because it's not just a vendor floor and it's not just panels. It's because there's that whole museum area, the free play museum area, with all the computers and the PCs and all the vintage stuff.
They have 2 different arcades too.
Right, multiple floors. My point is, what I want to get across is that if you have not gone to a convention because you think it's going to be too many people, it's going to be too hectic, this is one of the calmest conventions you can go to, and it's not because it's not busy. It's really busy, but there's plenty of space where you can just go and chill out.
And see things from outer space.
That's right.
You can walk by the lunar lander while you're playing the MSX game. It's set up there. Playing that Super Mario MSX that doesn't scroll. Remember that one? I think I played it there last year for the first time. It's kind of weird playing Super Mario.
It's very weird. But Long Island Retro Gaming, you'll have a comfortable time.
August 8th through 10th. And then I'm sure I'll buy another pizza or 2 for us.
And it'll be my birthday again.
The 9th.
I have.
That's right.
I have celebrated exactly one birthday at home, I think, in 5 years.
Hey, if it's an excuse to get us more rainbow cookies, I'll just steal some of Ian's birthday rainbow cookies. We'll do that.
Cookies.
So, Too Many Games. So, one of the things I did there is my pal, comedian Joe DeRosa, used to be on Opening Anthony Day. He was on Better Call Saul here and there. Pretty good person. And he likes collecting old Atari and television stuff and a little bit newer. He wanted me to come over to his place. He kept insisting I see his game room, which in this case was in his attic, and I was dreading it just because I wanted to like why'd you raise your eyebrows?
I just like to raise my eyebrows. That's all.
Ian eyebrow raise. Very underrated Ian motif is the eyebrow raise. And so I wasn't dreading because I didn't want to hang out with Joe. It's just that when you live in a world of game collections, and that's like what you do, you're entrenched in it. Plus, you're at a gaming convention, just walking around seeing people's games and their game collection. I wanted a little bit of respite from that for a little bit. So that's like the last thing I want to do is like try to even, not saying I would, but I don't have to feign interest in someone's gaming stuff when I'm tired from looking at games.
It's a sensory overload thing where like, well, and the other thing is when you see it, you're desensitized to it because you've been around this stuff all week, and so it's tough to like zone in and be like, that's really fucking cool.
Yes, the odds that I'm going to see something very interesting at this point in my life is very low. Like we've seen a lot of this stuff, so to me it's like, okay, I go there, and we'll just brace for impact. But honestly, not just saying this because he'd get mad. It was a nicely curated collection of things. There were some toys from the late 70s, early 80s. There were like Indiana Jones figures. There was like Universal monster giveaways that McDonald's did in the early 90s. They had like a set of like 5 figures with their own like coffins and stuff, things like that. And I sent you a few pictures of things, if you remember. I almost forget.
I believe so.
Yeah, I said to Joe recently I needed some pictures to remind myself, but I did email you, actually I texted you some pictures. So one was the handheld game, the Dracula handheld game. In the box.
Yes. That was his?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that a VCF game or is that an LED?
It's that one. I think that one's VCF.
It's a VCF? So similar, if you don't know, like the Coleco tabletops. Similar to that.
Yeah, vacuum fluorescent,
which means they're colored, kind of like colored LEDs, if you want to just go cheap. So yeah, he had some fun stuff there. He had a nice setup of like, hey, this is the TV, my CRT that has like the Atari stuff set up. I did make fun of him for I told him not to buy it. He bought the Atari computer re-release that came out a year or two ago. That was exactly the same thing it was the exact same bullshit as the 2600. They just put a new shell on it.
That one bothered me like even that was
more than it should have.
Yeah, it was just yeah.
So we're gonna give you the same games a year later with the same. I think they might have altered the board a little bit inside, but it's the same emulation machine just with a different pastiche attached. Anyway, so now it was good to hang out with Joe. Went out for some food. We caught up. We talked about how our lives suck, and it was a good time with them. What's going to be a great time though this weekend is Superman.
Yeah, I gotta go. Gotta figure out when I'm gonna go.
I went from being
you were very unexcited. I think you were like okay, and then you dipped down into a very unexcited place for a while.
I went to like an unexcited about Superman Valley.
Yeah,
really.
And I feel like the past couple of weeks you've come back out of it.
Well, the trailer sold me. The trailer, I was like, oh, okay. This is.
I think the trailer looks good. Yeah.
This is fun. This is fun Superman, where we're leaning into the fact that it's a comic book with colors and weird characters. There's going to be like 13 different characters in it from the comics, and it's not one of these things where we have to explain it all. Just fucking come along. We trust you're intelligent. You're going to get who Guy Gardner is. A couple lines. You're going to learn that he's spoilers. He's part of the Green Lantern Corps. He has the same Green Lantern powers, even though most of the audience don't know who the fuck he is. Like. Lean into it. It's a comic book. When you're a kid, you pick up a comic book randomly and not knowing who the characters were a lot of times that showed up. Yeah. But you learned eventually.
Well, that's why a number of people have said it, but I think maybe Frank said it.
My Frank or your Frank? Our Frank.
Our friend Frank. I feel like he was like, he said that when people ask him where they should start with a comic book, he just says, pick up the most recent issue.
Yeah.
There is no trick to it. I mean, whether you go back in time or forward or you start there, you still are going to go through the work of having to learn who all these characters are. Sure. Unless you want to be insane and start all the way at issue 1 and read through. Yeah, which you can.
You can nowadays, which is great. You can buy the collections or digitally. You can get one of the digital
services. If you just want to kind of like get into them casually to see what it's about, just pick up whatever looks good on the shelf and read from there.
Yeah. So this is that version of it, because literally this will be the first movie in the relaunched, whatever you want to call it, DC universe, their own version.
Right.
Because the Snyder one didn't go great. Did not go great. I think they are keeping the Peacemaker series as part of the new DCU. They've sort of retconned a little bit because that's been out for a couple years with John Cena, so that's going to be brought into this with some of the characters. But other than that, and maybe the Blue Beetle movie that came out that no one saw a year or two ago, I think some of this they might bring in, but the rest, Wonder Woman's gone. And they're not sure what they're doing with the Batman yet. I think they're going to have a new Batman and not the Robert Pattinson one. And I keep pushing that. That's not going to come out for 2 years, the sequel. And that was supposed to come out originally in 21, I believe. So it's going to be 6 years in between sequels, which is not what you want to do for any series, by the way, is have that long of time between.
Yeah.
You don't. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I got my tickets bought. Unfortunately, I'm way more apprehensive about Fantastic Four, and I hope it's just my paranoia that they did not screw it up. I'm really hoping that they did not screw it up. I'm really hoping, because this is it. This is the last chance for my Frank to see he won't be around for another reboot, or he'll be 98 on a Frank's gonna be 75 this year. He looks great for his age, but come on, we can't wait another 20 years for a good version. This is the 4th version of Fantastic Four. You don't want the Roger Corman version to be literally the most faithful version, because right now it is.
Yeah,
so currently it is. Anyway, in regards to that line, there was a mass review bomb campaign on the Snyder Cut subreddit, and then they basically had to retract that because they realized, hey, we're supposed to be well-adjusted people that don't concern ourselves with this sort of stuff. So let's just back off on acting like we're 12. That's what you do nowadays. You don't have like a empathetic human being anymore. That's not cool to do anymore.
I have withdrawn so much from
by the way,
because of that.
By the way, according to people now, Superman is woke because one of the tenets of the movie is that it's a story of an immigrant, because that's what Superman is. He's an alien, literally an alien from another planet who tries to assimilate into society and gets into trouble doing so. So,
I mean, yeah, that's.
I'm just saying that's the criticism.
The whole fucking point.
The whole point about Superman is,
never has a comic book character been more simple in terms of does good.
It's an alien trying to adjust to our society and hiding his true identity. That's literally what Superman, that's the story of Superman. That's what it is. And then, doing good, which is what you're supposed to do. So I'm actually pleased that they're now saying, yeah, that's the story. And then, hope is a big theme. It's being hope and being good to each other, which shouldn't be a fresh theme in a movie. But that's one of the themes of the movie. It's hey, we should be kinder to each other. It's really? That's what we should be doing? As the empire falls, we should be kinder to each other. Anyway, so I hope people have fun with it. I hear there's some nods and winks to the GOAT, Richard Donner, in it, because it seems like it's at the same sort of
good old Dick Donner
verisimilitude. That's what you need in these. You lean into how ridiculous it is. You don't wink and nod. You say, "Hey, this is what it is." You accept it. Mm-hmm. This is our confines. You bought a ticket. Fucking accept it. You're not laughing at it.
Yeah, winking and nodding and ironic enjoyment. It is. I always say there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. Fucking own what you enjoy.
Yeah.
What makes you happy makes you happy.
Bloodsport is not a guilty pleasure. It's a fucking pleasure.
Yeah. Sure. Exactly.
Do you want to stop killing games, Ian?
I do. So some good news tempered with, a little bit of reality.
The one thing that brought us all together probably recently was this.
Yes. So Stop Killing Games is an initiative that was collecting signatures, still is collecting signatures in Europe. Basically to force game developers and publishers to have an end-of-life plan for their games.
For ones that are digital or depend on servers being online.
Right. And over the weekend, the big news was that it had hit the million signature mark. And that allows it to be that's supposed to, if they can pass the signature threshold, there's a strong chance that the European Commission will pass a new law that will both protect consumer rights to retain video games that customers have purchased and advance preservation efforts massively. So this isn't, and I think he actually says this directly, it's not a change
petition that does absolutely nothing.
No, this is a legal thing. I mean, it's illegal to sign it falsely.
This is on the European Union's website.
Yes.
This is how you build the support to something like legislation eventually. This is like a building step process.
So while they hit their goal, he said the reality of it is that a lot of the signatures did not count because they were filled out incorrectly. And he says any mistake can lead to your signature not being counted. He also said that a good number of them are probably going to be rooted. He said there's a chance that there could be a lot of fakes rooted out.
Sure.
Which he really strongly warns against. He said because there could be some sort of legal repercussion if you've done that. So they extended the extended the signature goal to 1.4 million.
Just to be safe when they delete some. Sure.
To account for what they think will be the margin of thrown out signatures and fakes. So that's good. I'm glad they're taking it seriously and they're not using, the million as a symbolic victory. I'm very happy for them, and I think they're happier maybe than they let on, but they have to make sure this all goes by the process. And it's great. I mean, 1 million signatures is an absolutely insane number of signatures, because this is one, like you said, this is one thing that literally everyone agrees on.
Yes. Right, left, center, whatever.
Stop telling us we don't own shit that we buy.
Yes. And it's letting these companies that can afford them off the hook. And I know we get into arguments every once in a while where it's like, Ubisoft, one of the worst offenders, and you'll get people that are in IT. I'm not trying to put them down there and say, well, you have to upgrade the servers and the upkeep. These are companies that are worth so much freaking money.
We're going to get into that later, too.
You can throw a little bit of pocket change at these servers to keep them online. For in this case, they're closing a big game that came out, Anthem. It's not even like 6 years old. That's getting shut down pretty soon. You can't keep these games open. You can't...
Anthem was a mess, but still.
It was a big release, though.
Yes.
You can't put aside a little bit. Maybe this should be put in the law, where a bit of the profit has to be put aside for maintenance of these games for a certain amount of time. So then you ensure that, especially if it's popular, you can't just shut the lights off in a month like that. It's like, okay.
Right.
So you might ask yourself, well, it's in Europe. So could this happen here? Well, no, because I'll just come out and say it. Our government's a lot more corrupt and tied to lobbyists than a lot of these European countries. It just is. Yeah. That's just a sort of like historic sort of a fact at this point. So.
Oh yeah, I mean not even a question. I mean the money it's just you just buy what you want.
So, like for example, what happened? The reason why the USB-C is now on all future Apple iPhones is because in Europe they made it a law. Mm-hmm. They said, screw your stupid Lightning port that no one else uses. We have a universal
that breaks all the fucking time.
That you can sell for $25 each when it costs you a cent to record. We literally have something called the universal serial bus connector. It's universal, meaning this is what is accepted universally. Use this. It's superior. It won't break. It's quicker. And they forced Apple to get on board with it in Europe, which Apple then, okay, we might as well wait to change it all over. It'd be easier to change. That's why it happened in Europe first. Not saying that if this law passes, which this is basically the steps to it, according to this article, that from here it could become a law eventually. Not saying it's going to happen next year here or 2 years. It would put pressure on the companies to conform universally if it happens in a large area of the world. Like if you got them, maybe Japan will get on board separately, and then you force North America. Then you have like the 3 biggest, game markets altogether. Well, China is huge. I don't know what they would be thinking about this sort of thing. So anyways, that's good news.
Yeah.
Kumbaya on that.
Rare little bits of happiness.
And we've talked about this for years. Again, it's all about political pressure because of companies, these huge companies with boards of directors, they won't do it. If it costs them an extra $10 that they don't want to spend, they won't do it. We know that.
You know where they're not killing games?
Where they're not killing
They're
games.
not killing games at UltimateNintendo.com.
They're not. I am not killing games, but I'm killing it with book sales, I hope. N64 and Super Nintendo, new NES edition next year. People keep asking me about it. They're excited. We're gonna hit 50% edited today or tomorrow on re-edit. But you got the RBI baseball stickers. You got CU Podcast Enamel stickers. The Pat pin as well, and the Pat and Ian Puffy hair stickers and pins, all that stuff. Did you bring the stickers? I asked.
They're still under the pinball.
All at ultimatenintendo.com. You better bring it to Long Island.
I will.
You better stick them in your book bag now.
That was the last time I had my hands on them.
Because we're going to sell them at Long Island next month, August 8th through 10th.
That's right.
And then I'll have the brand new Pat Twitch sticker set at Long Island as well. And I stream every Wednesday, twitch.tv/CountryCode. Ian does every Thursday, spins the tunes. Every Thursday, twitch.tv/PixelSickle.
At like 4 p.m. PST.
And I do 4 p.m. on Wednesday about. So 4 o'clock slot. And I show 70s, 80s, and 90s commercials.
Get your midweek musts in.
And I've been doing it for 5 years, which is crazy. Almost every week on the dot. It's actually a highlight of my week. It's funny. It's educational.
When did you start?
During the pandemic, like May of 2020 about.
John and I just realized that we've been doing our podcast for like 6 fucking years.
6 years?
It's one of those things that just like creeps up on you. I think anything that anyone started during that time, so that's why I'm bringing it up. Because like, yeah, I wouldn't have thought that you'd been doing that for 5 years, but you're right.
I forget. Do we just hit our official anniversary of this podcast? 12 years. The official day is either.
I thought it was July.
Late July?
I think
It's
it was
late July.
published August 3rd, but I think we did it like July 27th or something.
Or 28th?
Like that. Yeah.
It's late July, not
It's
late
late
June.
July.
All right. 12 years of this bullshit.
12.
Not a round number. 12 years.
Can't celebrate.
Yeah, and the Patreon, if you want to see what I spent a lot of money on. Patreon.com/podcast.
It's good.
You want to talk about the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection? You're a bigger Mortal Kombat fan than I am at this point.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to mention it because this is one that I'm excited about. Digital Eclipse announced the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. It's got the first 4 games, but I think in just about every version they were released in.
That's exciting.
And that is. So actually, here's a chart on Wikipedia. So Mortal Kombat 1 is going to have arcade, SNES, Genesis, Game Boy, Game Gear. 2 is going to have...
No Tiger LCD?
No. Mortal Kombat 2 is going to have all of those minus Game Gear, but it will be on 32X. Mortal Kombat 3 will be arcade, Super Nintendo, and Genesis.
Was there a Game Gear Mortal Kombat 2?
I feel like there was, yes.
Well,
that's odd. I'm wondering why that might not be on.
Look it up.
Um,
if my G button works.
Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 will have arcade and SNES versions. And that did that have a... No, that did not have a Genesis version.
I was confused that because the PlayStation had the trilogy, but not Ultimate.
So Mortal Kombat 4 will be there as arcade only, so no Dreamcast. Mortal Kombat Advance on the Game Boy, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance on the Game Boy, and Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition. All of those on the Game Boy Advance.
Well,
so that's a shitload of Mortal Kombat.
If my space bar was working right now, I could check it. You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, I mean, the arcade versions are what I'm going to want to play the most, but I will love comparing the SNES and Genesis versions, and the Game Boy versions are pretty fun to play. Mortal Kombat 2 on the Game Boy is actually pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, it's really not bad for a Game Boy game. And Mortal Kombat 1 on the Game Gear, I think I kind of liked, and I'm checking Mortal Kombat 2 right now.
So, and they said more to be announced.
No... okay. And no Game Gear. No Game Gear for Mortal Kombat 2, so that's why.
And you're going to have online with rollback netcode? Wow.
Yes, not for all of them. I think for all the arcade versions.
That makes sense.
Let me play the Game Boy ones. Yeah, I want to start a tournament scene on the Game Boy.
There's like only 4 characters in that one? Is there?
I think there's 5 or 6.
5 out of the 7?
That's out of the 7, yeah. It's definitely missing someone.
Probably Kano. Kano always gets a short stick. Interactive documentary and the full story. It says and more to be announced. Where do you think they're gonna do the cutoff at then?
I think they'll keep it at 4, but I'm wondering if they're just trying to get ports from other systems.
Oh, I see.
Because like there is a Dreamcast version of 4. Yeah, I'm not sure what else.
N64.
The N64 one, maybe maybe the trilogy for Mortal Kombat Gold. And then maybe the trilogies for PlayStation and N64.
So just more
because both of those are different. Yeah, there's no version of trilogy on here that I can see.
No Sub-Zero mythologies? Jesus.
I've never played that, and I always want to. I know it's bad. I just want to see how bad.
Well, it might have been reviewed by a certain NES punk.
Yeah, it's possible.
In conjunction with the release of the new book
But you can get it at ultimatenes.com. We're going in a time loop.
Ultimate N64, I also own that one, so that'd be direct too. I own all the Ultimates.
Fighting games, though. Why don't you tell me a bit about this weird Street Fighter movie casting?
I don't know what to think about this. It's almost like they want to make a meme movie looking at this casting.
Yes.
Versus a serious movie.
That's actually what that's what I think too.
It's like, wow, we saw Minecraft do gangbusters with Chicken Jockey and other bullshit, and so they got kids. But
instead of making good movies, let's try to make a movie so bad that people want to make fun of it and turn it into
turn into a modern Rocky Horror picture.
Yeah.
But Street Fighter, if you did a serious version, there's different stories of the characters that you can actually make something decent. I never saw the Chun-Li movie that came out like 20 years ago.
I heard it was bad because there was very little action in it at all.
Sure. I saw it in theaters. The original Street Fighter movie.
I saw that in theaters too.
And that came out, 95 or 94, whatever it was. I saw it with Kevin. One of the last years I hung out with Kevin, early high school. Kevin. And yes, it's a little goofy with the United Nations stuff, but you get all the characters, you get Van Damme doing the flash kick, and you get an awesome Raul Julia as Bison. Yep. Just like chewing the scenery like you should for a rule. And the costumes, at least, were mostly authentic. And at the time, that was like respectable. That and that Mortal Kombat, which came a year later, those were respectable versions of that to me. Like for what you could do back then. So by now you have the new Mortal Kombat that came out, and I saw parts of it. It looked okay. I still hate how they have a random MMA guy in it, which you don't need an extra character as the everyman. You don't need an everyman. Right. It's supposed to be Liu Kang. Like Liu Kang as an everyman is fine. Just use him anyway. So when I see the cast here, we're going to talk about some of this cast. First of all, it seems like the casting for Ryu and Chun-Li, it's like, oh, these look like there's good actors. That guy's a martial artist. All right, you get a Japanese guy, you get a Chinese gal. There you go. That's fine. You can train them up. That's fine. And then, though, every other casting thing we're going to say is like, did any of these people audition for this? Or we're going to get a name and you're going to play the part? Did they actually bring in Cody Rhodes to audition as Guile? Or it's just that, oh, he's the most popular wrestler right now. He has blonde hair. He has an American tattoo on his neck.
If you're going to get a wrestler to play Guile, I don't know why you didn't do John Cena and dye his hair blonde. I mean, it's right there.
He's super busy, but yeah, you can do that. I just don't. And I'm not saying the wrestlers can't act in these movies, but they don't have the acting experience. Cody Rhodes is not a martial artist. I'm not saying he can't train to do it. Van Damme at the time was one of the most famous martial art movie stars in the world.
Right.
So it's like, even if you weren't a fan of that a version of him, he could do all the kicks. He can do everything. He had a large track record. That is super concerning to me if I don't want this movie to be seen as a joke. And I'd rather not. I thought we're past, for the most part, comic book movies, video game movies being seen as jokes. We've sort of leaned past that. Super Mario Brothers did very well, and that wasn't a joke.
Okay, I think David Dastmalchian is actually kind of an inspired casting.
To be Dan?
To be
Bison. To be Bison.
I think that's going to be good.
He's been in stuff. He's in the couple Ant-Man movies. There's been other things. He's not like a super well-known actress. That one wasn't stunt casting.
They don't mention my favorite movie of his either, which is Late Night with the Devil.
I haven't seen that. But so he's an actual actor though.
Yes, yeah. I think he will be good.
That's fine. You can train him to do some martial arts, whatever. But Roman Reigns as Akuma.
That's one of the okay, do that, and then I wanted to do mine. So.
I don't even know that much about Akuma. I wasn't playing the Street Fighter stuff by then. I just think that it's like, he's a popular wrestler. The women love him. He's got those rugged, handsome, good looks. Those rugged Samoan good looks. We'll just cast him as one of the villains, and we'll just do that. And it's just like, okay. And then you get Jason Momoa as Blanca.
I don't think that will be as bad.
I don't think it's necessary, though. It's just he's a big name. He was just in Minecraft. He's now cast in everything. It's like another Chris Pratt. We're going to get him in because a lot of the audience likes him. We're going to paint him green, give him fuzzy orange chest hair and a mohawk. And it's like, you could get anyone for that. Again, not saying he's going to do a bad job. It's just this creates a pattern. The casting.
My problem is a lot of these as individual castings are fine to me. It's when you look at the cast as a whole. I think 50 Cent as Balrog, who is probably going to be a bit character, it's good because Balrog is portrayed as older generally lately. I think he'll be fine. Cody Rhodes, though, who's probably going to have to carry the movie as Guile, no. And then Akuma, the Akuma casting is maybe the most random casting I've ever seen in terms of what the actual character is. But nothing throws me for a loop like this one, which is Orville Peck, who's going to be Vega. Now, I did not know who Orville Peck was until yesterday when we talked about this, but he is a country singer. And Peck has no acting experience, but if you Google Orville Peck, if you don't know who he is shown wearing a mask in most of his photos and I'm sure videos. So I think they literally looked at someone popular today who wears a mask and was just like,
versus
Vega.
Versus getting an actual actor that they can throw a mask on who could actually act his ass off and was a martial artist. Or a combination, because you don't see their face. So
maybe like a dancer or a ballerina or something could be a good Vega because of the way he moves.
You know what would have been a great Vega back in the day?
Huh.
He actually was a ballerina. The heavy in Die Hard, the second command with the blonde hair.
Oh.
He actually was a trained ballerina. Sorry, this came to me. If they made a Street Fighter with that character, anyway, that would have been a great Vega because he has blonde hair. Anyway, so
weird all around, and I think even the ones I like, if you take them as a whole, it really does make it just look like stunt casting.
It's literally that they got Andrew Schultz, who's a big podcaster and comedian, as Dan. It's a comedic character, but I'm not saying Andrew Schultz can't do it. It's probably not a heavy character to play Dan. He's like
Dan is literally a joke character,
but. It was like, he's got a big following of a podcast. Let's grab him and get his audience. He's a singer with audience. Let's get his audience.
Let's get two wrestlers because one isn't enough.
Let's get two of the biggest wrestlers that headline WrestleMania 40. They have audiences we can promote on the show. They are casting by popularity and demographic versus can they actually do a good job?
Yeah,
that's my concern. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to be proven wrong, saying, oh, it's going to turn out to be great. Like a somewhat serious Street Fighter movie, I think it could be fun because there are stories, that you could do.
The only thing I can think of with this is if they aim high, they're not going to get who they want. And if they take nobodies, everyone's going to be like, this movie is full of nobodies. I'm wondering if they would I wonder if they're having trouble getting higher end or better actors, is what I'm saying. So they reach out to kind of stunt actors who are like, yeah, I want to be part of this. Instead of getting nobodies. I'm wondering if...
Well, they did get... I mean, Jason Momoa is...
True.
Was that going to be cheap?
No, you're right. You're right.
You know?
Really don't. Doesn't make much sense to me.
Then again, I don't know what Jason Momoa... Maybe Jason Momoa just shows up for these and does a decent job, doesn't want to get paid a ton.
There are actors who do that.
Sure, but...
I'm not saying he is.
You can also take a chance at some unknowns that do a great job and be like, oh, we're going to get that person... to be Akuma and Guile and Cody, and then they become stars, and they're just great actors out there. Sounds like the guy they got for Ken is an up-and-coming actor. I don't know much about him.
Same with the gal they got as Chun-Li.
So it's like, but there's just too many, and I'm not saying 50 Cent can't do a great job. But at that point, you might as well just get Mike Tyson. You might as well, because that's who it was based on.
But
M. Bison was the character originally. It's Mike Tyson.
The other thing looking at this, honestly, though, is... it doesn't have to be Guile who carries the movie. I'm only thinking that because it's Street Fighter. And this first Street Fighter movie had him that. There's no reason. I mean, he's not a main character necessarily.
You don't know what story this is going to be.
When you look at who would likely, when you consider main characters in Street Fighter, Ken, Ryu, Chun-Li, they're all the people that aren't stunt casting. Stunt castings. So I have a feeling they're probably going to carry the majority of the movie.
That's your theory?
Story-wise, and that most of these stunt castings are going to be bit parts.
There are a couple of scenes, 2 or 3
They're
scenes.
going to be cameos, essentially. Yeah, that's my guess.
Is Cammy in it? Speaking of cameos, Cammy.
Woo-woo! Anyway.
Eating fanboys for Cammy?
Legs for days.
Well, thighs, right?
Thighs.
Well, they all have thighs.
They all have thighs.
What?
With every Street Fighter that comes out, they become more thigh than human.
Speaking of, unrealistic depictions of women, the thigh to calf ratio on these women in these games.
Oh, I will be honest. The body proportions of all the characters in Street Fighter 6 are worrisome. Well, the feet the size of fucking
I know Ryu's chest now is probably it's granite, making me feel bad.
Needs to be held in by those iron barrel straps.
And I'm pretty chesty according to Ian. And even I'm looking at these guys I'm getting shamed now from these folks. Atari watch. You know what, Atari? Every once in a while, you do a product. I don't have a problem with this product.
Actually, I think it looks kind of neat.
It's only
cute.
it's not overpriced. Remember the Atari watch from like 5-6 years ago in the last regime that was like, what is this?
There was nothing Atari about it other than the graphics. This actually has some pedal games on it that you can play with the dial on the side of the watch. So I think that's kind of cute. Do I want it? No. But is it neat and reasonably priced? Sure.
It's an reappropriated Android watch with Atari.
Yeah. Don't let anyone tell you that we don't occasionally throw bones.
So you get Pong, you get Super Breakout, you get Missile Command. That could be fun on a watch, Missile Command.
Could be.
So it's like if you like playing Tetris on your Nintendo watch back in '90.
Yeah. I think that's why I thought it was cute. Because it reminded me of those.
It's $80, which is what kind of like those watches kind of cost back then, probably adjusted for inflation. It was probably what, $30-$40 watches back then? Something like that.
Yeah, that's what I would guess.
$30 probably.
$34.99.
Is that, you might be right. I think that I was too poor to have that. So
I never had one.
Yeah. Damn you, Vincent. Vincent, you had a couple. Do I even own any now? I think I own one now. You ever see the pink Super Mario Peach one? The pink version?
No.
The Princess Toadstool one, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
For Super Mario, a little hard to find. I shouldn't say that because now they're all go up in value.
Might have to find one.
Before the podcast comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mr. Beast tried coming out with an app using AI to create thumbnails. So basically, if you're a creator, you want to create a thumbnail, it would help you create a thumbnail based upon, I guess, existing ones out there because it was trained on thumbnails that were already out there. So YouTubers like Jacksepticeye were like, hey, using my thumbnails without permission for your shitty app, what the fuck are you doing? So then that wasn't good, and so it got taken down. So I think it was taken down fairly quickly. I saw the original article on it. So the reason I'm bothered so much about this, and obviously generative AI is troublesome, it's a fact that
it's killing society.
Well, it's a little much, but it's the fact that it plays into the Mr. Beast sort of methodology of there is a correct way of doing YouTube videos and to get noticed.
Right.
And we're going to make this AI slop thumbnail machine and spit out all the same, in theory, probably thumbnails that we know will be successful to everyone. So you're all going to have the same thumbnail, which is what's been happening anyway the past years. You all get the face, like, oh, the excited face next to, like, that's gotta be near the end of it not working because I cannot, I refuse to click on a video with a face like that. Well, that's...
Someone's making the fucking O face in the thumbnail, I don't click.
Well, what they do is they make a couple different faces for their template file in their Photoshop, and they just slap it on, and that's what they do. I've seen it even for like new wrestler podcasts. I do the same thing. Like Stevie Richards has a wrestling podcast. You see his face next to it.
Face is not the problem. It's the constant...
It's the face. Or humans. The point is this. To monetize the other thumbnails obviously is wrong to do that you're based on it. I am more disturbed by the fact that we need, like, the biggest YouTuber is going to put out an app to train you and charge you. I'm going to train you to be a better YouTuber by making thumbnails that work because they work for me. That's what's bothersome to me. Mm-hmm. Because now you're homogenizing the content even more.
Oh, yeah.
On even now to get noticed. And yes, it does work overall better thumbnails. It does.
Teenage Guide to Popularity. It's just like kind that of. Sort of shit.
And I didn't read the whole article about Mr. Beast that came out. Was it last year? And he's been in a lot of controversies with, his show being dangerous, allegedly, people getting hurt, him hiring and working with problematic people, and not realizing how bad they were and things like that. But when he does an article saying that, like, he doesn't want to smile for real in videos because he doesn't want, like, to possibly offend people by being authentic, now you're becoming a fucking generative person yourself. And that you're like, you have to, your range of emotions and behavior are keeping within this like mediocre range so that you don't offend people one way or the other. You don't want to be too goofy, Ian. You don't want to appear to have real emotions in a video because then you it's like that paste you eat in fucking Alien. You have to be that paste. You can't be a little bit flavored dialed up too much, and that's why I hate it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, turning yourself into an automaton sounds like, I don't know, just awful. Ugh.
It was $80 per month, by the way. I didn't say that. $80 a month.
Jesus.
Just buy a couple of templates or find some templates. Yeah. Go into Photoshop and do the work yourself in like 3 minutes. I didn't even realize I was burning the lead. $80 a month? This is just fucking greed on top of it.
Right.
That is crazy.
He doesn't smile because he's dead inside. That's why.
$80 a month isn't what you can get a Photoshop subscription per month. It's not like what, $20 a month, 15 to use Photoshop. Like,
just, I mean, Adobe products suck and go find what you want. But if you really need a thumbnail bad, just go to Adobe Express. I'm pretty sure there's a template up there for a thumbnail. Click it.
You can find websites that have free. YouTube might have free templates. Actually, they have their own YouTube Studio shit, or they provide some free tools and stuff. You can find free shit the same way when you stream. You can find free streaming templates for your overlays and stuff. Fucking awful. Anyway, so yeah, there was a lot of backlash. And your chocolate sucks, by the way. People are saying.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Is that it for the intro?
That is.
I kept it 40 minutes. I kept it nice and clean.